What Can You Do Right Now weekly workshop, where we are helping you get relevant, practical information that you can apply in your business today. Last week, we talked about operational systems to put in place in your business so that you could put your business in a good place to be able to sell it, or possibly even just be able to go on a vacation without being attached to your phone. So if you missed that, we'd be happy to share the recording with you. But today we have Melissa, who is a startup marketing specialist since her term at, oh my God, Y Combinator, is that right?
Yes.
Cool. Melissa's worked with early growth stage fintech companies like BitAccess and Veeam to develop their marketing strategies and lay the marketing foundation for these companies to drive creative ad campaigns and market with companies like QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, Zapier, and Shopify. Today, Melissa's going to show us the basics of search engine optimization, or SEO, as you've probably heard it called, what it is, how it works, and what you can do to increase traffic to your website. So with that, Melissa, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Well, thank you. Again, my name is Melissa Mullet. I'm located in Ottawa, Canada, but I've worked with many companies in the US, as well as here, where Shopify is based. I really enjoy it. As some of you might have heard earlier, I do have a biological science degree, but when I graduated, I actually made the move into startups, and it was there that the first company I joined was accepted to Y Combinator, summer 2014 batch. I specialized there in digital marketing because it fit a lot with the analytical side of how my brain works, and it's what we really need to help launch that growth. And I want to share some of that with you today. We don't need that lovely picture of on Machu Picchu, although recommended trip. Okay, so what are businesses doing now to reach audiences? A lot of small business owners I start working with do have new sales coming in, but they're typically using the three main ones, which is word of mouth marketing or referrals. Social media marketing, it's a great free tool to start off on: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and event marketing. And this is going to conferences or local meetups or even digital events to try and gain new followers. So a big area, and this is where people start usually hiring for help, is digital marketing. So this does incorporate social media marketing, but it's also the area of content where you're using lifestyle or email marketing, and then that paid and advertising marketing. And a big portion, which drives a lot of traffic nowadays, is search engine optimization. So we're really going to dive into that today. So I really like this gift because it really shows you what SEO does. It's kind of utilizing a tool to help increase the amount of traffic you're usually going to see. So think about it just like a physical neighborhood. Having an ideal location, maybe with parking, is going to bring more in. But in the digital world, you really have to use a different form because parking lots aren't going to work. And this is where SEO comes in. So first and foremost, what is it? Search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, think of all of them there. Anywhere where you're really typing in a query and looking for a result, that's what a search engine is. And how they work is by using an algorithm. So an algorithm will locally index web pages. They do this by crawling or using like bots called spiders. Google's spiders are actually very infamous, that crawl the web pages and then index the content on the pages that will later be ranked on their website. So these are the three things you need to remember when you're thinking of search engines. They crawl, then they index, then they rank. So crawling, again, is the discovery process, which the search engines use to find new and updated content, which is really important. And we're going to touch on that a bit later. But any page that is updated or brand new is crawled. This is then uploaded to an index. So the largest index in the world is owned by Google. It's called Caffeine. Check it out if you ever want to for fun. Next, the process is kind of the Dewey Decimal System of the internet. It's called indexing, which all leads into the funnel of ranking it, which is the order of results and why you see things on page 1 and page 2 and page 3. So when it comes to ranking, there's three major considerations. They are proximity, prominence, and relevance. So all that comes to say is that me being in Ottawa, Canada, if I were to Google an ice cream shop, I'm going to get much different results than if Anna Googles ice cream shop there, because proximity. One big thing is it does me no good. Although the ice cream might be delicious in Anna's location, I'm in a different country. That'll do me no good. So it doesn't just use popularity. After proximity, it's prominence. So in your area, people who are speaking about lots, that shows on the digital footprint that it exists, they can really validate off multiple sources. Then they're also going to rank that higher. And the last one is relevance, making sure that topic ice cream is said a lot. If they only mention it once on the website, there might be a burger shop that happens to have an ice cream parlor inside of it. They want to make sure that they're really drilling down and giving you the best result for what you searched. Okay, so the aspects of search engine optimization, again, a really big important factor is keywords. And that, again, is the words somebody is going to put in to the search engine in order to find. And again, it's how you're ranked and indexed. So another area is image tags. This falls into keywords, kind of a subcategory. Google even looks at the pictures on your website. So that's why some people get random results, or if you ever Google imaged yourself or your business, some random images might come up. This has to do with image tagging. And then again, date stamps or frequency is more common. Earlier, I mentioned how updated and new pages. So new pages are taking nothing from scratch, just completely putting on a new page. And then you have updated pages where the timestamp is like, oh, this information has been updated, let's see what they've added. You don't want to update too frequently major anchor pages like your homepage, and this is why blogs are really important and used too. But this is how they determine. Google spiders aren't going to go to pages that are stagnant or haven't been updated in a while, because that would just be way too much work. So they're looking for these date stamps and the new ones and what they choose. So fun fact time, 90% of all search engine questions are done on Google. So I mentioned the other two before, and not to get down too much, but Google is kind of king here. It is the most used, it is the industry leader, and its algorithm kind of dictates how most other search engines run there. So yeah, 2 trillion searches per year. It's a lot. So major misconception, just because you have a website doesn't mean you can find it on a search engine. So everyone thinks that just because you have something, it automatically is going to get indexed or ranked in a certain way, and that's just not how it is. Now, chances are if you do have something that's super niche, you might, but you got to make sure, back to those aspects we looked at earlier, that you're using those correct ones, because Google does need something to grasp onto in order to rank you. And again, if Google was a little more practical in real life, we could actually look up things like looking for your glasses. Keywords. This is, of all the 3 things I mentioned, you're going to hear a lot of marketers, and especially content marketers, talk about the importance of keywords. This is how Google is pulling your website. Now, Google always cares about the user of Google, so the person searching for it. They do not build their algorithm to help the companies on the other side. They have a paid version for that too, AdWords and ads. But really, they want to build something that is able to say it is truly a step back, and it is not influenced by being paid. That's why there's sections at the top that say ads, and then everything else is organic. They really care about the search engine user. So keywords are common there. It's the words people are typing into these search boxes on Google and Bing and Yahoo to find and then pull up relevant information. And this is the importance of now your index site, so making sure the correct words are there, and then ranking for it. The 2 main factors to consider when choosing keywords is search volume and competition. So this is something I'm going to get back to at the end here. I recommend everyone to get a free account on Google Analytics and Google Ads. I have links for those later. But this is a quick screenshot to show you how it's the best thing there is in the industry. So this is their keyword planner. I put in the word shoe. Now, as you can see, shoe, average monthly searches, is searched 1 million to 10 million times. But on the other side of that, competition is high. So if I'm a shoe manufacturer, I can see here that yes, going for shoe, many people are searching it, but I'm going to have to compete with a lot of persons. If you look at the first keyword idea, automatically Nike shoes. This is where getting kind of granular, finding out what makes you unique and special is really important. The average keyword search nowadays is actually 3 to 4 words long. Before, about 5 years ago, it used to be 2 words. But every year we're seeing them more and more to get more granular in their search. Questions are trying to be used. A lot of people actually don't put true questions in, the how, the what to. They just put, Nike shoe, Ottawa, Canada, or something like that. They're trying to get there really fast, and sometimes full sentences are just not used. So why should you care about SEO? Well, it is the major source of how you're going to get your online traffic. So 90% of online traffic, of people who find businesses, get it from online. So this comes over foot traffic, word of mouth, event marketing, all of that. Most of it is going to be through search engines. It's just how it is. Even before they go into a store, they typically look it up first to verify that 78% of offline sales are a result of online sales first. So someone will go online, they'll find you, and then that goes into an offline sale. So they come into your store, they schedule an appointment, they use your Calendly link, lots of that. But the first step for an offline sale is still an online process. So you really do need to make sure you have a footprint there. And fun fact again, the near me feature that Google has put in, you guys might see it on Google Maps, that's grown over 900%. So more and more people are starting to, especially for restaurants, or just knowing what they're in the area as a tourist or a visitor, are just clicking near me to see what's in the neighborhood, and then they'll go shop that way. So even as a bookkeeper, you might want to use that because Google is pushing more and more people to use that feature in different ways. So we're going to see other industries see a boom from that feature, even though it was originally made for breweries and restaurants. We're starting to see clothing outlets and play structures and all that start to see benefits from the near me feature. Okay, and all that to say that if you don't have a digital marketing strategy, now is definitely time. You're not behind, you're not futuristic, but it's a good time to do it. There is still lots of open social media tags and handles that you can grab. You can really make a good footprint for yourself. And in a lot of small business areas, especially if you've niched down a lot, it's a really good time because there's a lot of resources for you to go and learn a lot of the tools on yourself. Google has a lot of great certifications. I take them myself every year. There's things that can really make sure that you're ahead of the curve, and there's lots of resources out there. So on that, I do want to switch over to what you guys can do today. Referenced earlier, sign up for Google Analytics and Google Ads. So Google Analytics is a great way to get your baseline data. The only way you could optimize something is if you know what you're optimizing. So Google Analytics will give you a tracking code, which you or somebody who runs your website can put onto the back end. If you're using Squarespace or Wix, it's super easy. Honestly, if you just Google tracking ID Squarespace, tons of blog articles. It's going to be really easy, but you need that Google Analytics first. A lot of these places give you your own analytics, so page views. Google Analytics goes way deeper than that. They give you referral sources called a tree map. It lets you know where they came from. Was it organic? Did they search something else and go through a funnel and get there? All free, all amazing. The next one is Google Ads. Pro tip, you click at the bottom line when you're setting your thing up, as opposed to prompting you to put a credit card in that you don't need to use the one. If you don't even want to put a credit card in, just keep saying you're a marketer and you get an account for free. I use it on my daily for Keyword Planner as a free function of Google Ads. So even if you have no plans on using Google Ads or doing paid advertising, still get an account with this, even on your own personal, and use the Keyword Planner. It is a super powerful tool. Okay, next pro tip, get a YouTube account if you ever plan on having any kind of media. So this could be like this recording today. That could be a podcast you're in one day. Even co-sponsor things where you're in it slightly. Speaking opportunities are mostly filmed at events today. So it's good to have it. You want to try and get your domain and get the account name. So even if the plan is in 2 years, get the account today so you can make sure you have a name that aligns with your business. And also, even if you have small videos and they're grainy and they're not great, still use them. Google owns YouTube, so there is huge preference there. You can SEO Google. You can also SEO your social accounts. So big thing there is to make sure that you're using your social. Facebook, Twitter, people can look you up that way. You can actually put Google Analytics onto a Facebook business page. Unfortunately, right now, you can't do it with Twitter, but I gave you guys the link. Anyone can look at their own analytics, personal or business-wise. Just where it says bold your username, put in your own username, and you have a dashboard of all your Twitter analytics. Recent things, views, who's looking at you. It's a really thing. They just don't expose it. And then back again to the ranking and doing SEO for your social media. On Twitter, when you post a picture of somebody, instead of tagging them in the content, tag them on the picture. Again, Google looks at image tags. So that gives it an image tag, and you save yourself some character count. So it's more powerful, and you get to say a few more witty things. Okay, there is my brief intro to SEO, guys. Anyone have any questions? I swear I'm a nice person.
I totally was muted still. So, hey, thank you, Melissa. That was some amazing content. I love the top level overview and some great tips on things we can actually do with that. I am going to turn it over to Jill to field questions.
Yeah, I think Caitlin raised her hand virtually to ask a question. But you are muted in case you don't know, Caitlin. Oh, I'm so sorry. Actually, she ended up adding it to the chat. So her question is, can you expand on the proximity, prominence, and relevance items in the Google search function?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So it's not beneficial to the person putting a search in to get searched for everywhere in the world. So keywords are actually locally ranked. So somebody might be #1 spot for, say, the word shoe in New York, but they will not be ranking for #1 shoe in Palm Springs. They don't put the same amount of effort in. You can do this by putting a location on your website or your Facebook profile page. This is why a lot of website templates and all that encourage you to put a physical location on. That allows Google to see where you actually are. That's why a lot of people put multiple offices on, even though they have, like, say, 1 employee in Canada. It allows them to have an international office. And Google can see that on their website and pull that in. But as well, if you only are based in, say, a smaller town, I'm from a smaller community called Newmarket, Ontario, which is north of Toronto. I probably, as an owner there, will only ever have a store in Newmarket, Ontario. So it's beneficial to me too to not be competing on a national or country level. And that's why they do local SEO. So a lot of keyword planners and tools that make it simplified will actually help you by individualizing the location. And then prominence is how often people do something called backlinking, whereas they post your material and they say, yeah, I can say this person is so good at what they do. I want to put their stuff onto my website too. It's also other things as well. It's how often do you put information out onto the web? Are you trying to be a thought leader? Do you use your social media often? That's why Facebook actually will say how quickly you answer messages. That goes into prominence. And then relevance is, do you really stay on topic, or do you try and talk about everything? If I was telling you guys today this is an SEO talk and then gave you a whole bunch of tips on trade shows, you'd be a little bit like, is it relevant? There you go.
We have another question in the chat from Phil. He asks, how soon should I see an uptick in traffic once any kind of change is made on a website? Will I see it immediately? Will that take time? What does that look like?
That was a good question. I didn't mention that, did I? SEO is a long game. It is sit down and prepare, do your research first. So when you choose your keywords, I would actually say first, take your website and put it into a keyword planner. I'm going to keep referencing the Google Keyword Planner. It's the best tool. It just allows you to take your URL, put it in, and it'll tell you exactly what keywords they're already pulling you for. If you see the words are kind of incorrect, I would actually go look and see what words you're using a lot. That's why you sometimes see a lot of websites that seem a little bit boring, but they're really good websites. And you're like, why is it so bland? They're trying to make sure that the right keywords are being pulled in. That's why a lot of branding expression should be done through use of images and not always through, metaphors and similes. It can be really confusing to Google. Typically, when you start implementing keyword tactics, putting the right ones on, using blogs, tagging your images correctly, you'll slowly start seeing more traffic, but most SEO experts do say 4 months to 6 months is when you're really going to see your optimal points and start seeing that curve hit that nice line of jumping upwards and that hockey stick growth. I hope that wasn't too Canadian. Hope you guys use hockey stick growth too. But that moment where the handle of the stick meets the head, yes, that's the 4-month range.
It's a Nike swoosh here.
Oh, come on.
I knew you were going to talk about hockey at some point. Can you also say about for us, please? Question, what's wrong?
Can you speak a little bit to like consistency across like communication? Because I know it's hard to kind of start all of these things. And you mentioned like, even if you have a goal of 2 years down the road, I want to have content in a YouTube channel. So I'm going to gain that domain. how consistent does your kind of handle information have to be? And then how consistent should your messaging be within those different platforms?
Really good thing. So the one thing that's wonderful about different platforms is it does allow you to kind of ease your voice a bit, and all I mean by that is tone. So on different, you should always have one base underlying message. It shouldn't be confusing, and there shouldn't be different topics per platform. So consistency in the information is key. Your tone can definitely change. Twitter is only 140 characters. If you're speaking the exact same way on Facebook, you have so much more room for breath. And you should be using wit and images on Twitter. Most posts only last under 8 seconds. Facebook has a little bit longer, and they also allow you to put money behind your post and boost it so it does stay on screen a bit more and gets in front of more eyes. Now to your handles, this is a bit tricky, and it's not fully, most people will say, and this is the golden standard, if you can get every single handle, so that would be your @ name, your username, Facebook business page name for every single platform, obviously no contesting that's amazing. From there on, there isn't as much damage as long as you're making sure that there is a central hub, maybe your website, where you've put all four in so people can verify it. And that's where you sort of lose the benefit if you do have differing names. Now, it's more important to make sure your brand name, you guys are a crew, to make sure crew is in the name. If you're really going through everything and it's just that last platform, maybe Instagram, where you just can't get the same thing, put on an HQ.io, something on it. That bit of difference is okay. It's more important, again, to make sure they can connect it than to go totally outside of it and just try and find something where you can get it for all four, so it doesn't draw back into your brand. So use the brand tie, but really don't panic if you can't get them all four the same. Just get them close enough. Pro tip at Veeam, when I first started, someone had started at Twitter and a Facebook, and they're like, that's all the social media you need. And I was like, LinkedIn, guys, what about Instagram? So we actually had two differing handles for a lot, and we made it work. So we had Veeam Team and Go Veeam. And just turns out Veeam means to see in Portuguese, I think it was. And we never could get that domain, even we tried. So we just kept it consistent. It never affects us in numbers.
Anna, did you have questions? I'm sorry, did you have something in a direct chat or anything like that?
Of course I have questions. I always have questions. Melissa, you mentioned the Twitter analytics. Is that where you see people posting things like, here's the person that liked me the most this week? And also, what are your thoughts on posts like that?
Oh, companies and personal accounts are a bit different. When done in a community settings and you have a very consistent set of rules where people know how they can become maybe a top follower, and there's a community outline so that it doesn't seem like you're playing favorites. So it does seem very agnostic to the community, then yeah, totally go for it. Competition, people thrive on that. People are more likely to use your hashtag. Now, just calling someone out and being like, something they didn't do back to you and being like, this person this week, it's sometimes can be offhanded. Know your audience. I will say in different niches, it definitely depends, but you have to be careful with it. Don't do something where everyone doesn't know how. If you're going to welcome one member of your community, welcome them all. Cherry picking can definitely lead to people unfollowing you, seeming like you don't care about your audience in the same way. So just make sure if you do those things, and you know what, if you are doing a welcome message to everyone who starts following you, that is amazing, that is hand catered. But let's be honest, not everyone has the time to do that. Not everyone is as comfortable on a social media platform. So again, there's a bit of knowing your audience, but if you're going to do it, commit to it, do it for everybody. And on a brand level, make sure that it's as transparent as possible and that you give people guidelines to how they can get onto maybe a ranking. Avalara, great example. If you guys ever check it out, they do a wonderful job of that. And they really have turned their tax compliance app. Tax, not the sexiest sometimes. They've turned into a very competitive, highly used hashtag for like the tax on a Snickers bar, but they've done it. And so it is possible. Just be careful with your audience.
Cool. I think that's such great advice. If you're going to do it for someone, make sure you're doing it for everyone. If you can't commit to that, maybe just don't start. Maybe just post things or like things or participate, but don't set yourself up to fail with welcoming everyone that follows you. That might scale when you're just starting out, and that might be exhausting at some point. Sorry, go ahead.
Pro tip on that one too, always plan for a year from now, 2 years from now. Plan big. If you are going to do wonderful in your small business, and look at Shopify, they're incredible. They reply to as many people as possible with witty remarks, but it's kind of known that if you get one, it's like a golden Willy Wonka ticket. They've never offended anybody because they've never done it for everybody. So make sure to plan for your growth, invest in yourself, know you're going to succeed, and know that in a year, it might not be possible because you're just doing so well.
I love it. Yes. We're going to be amazing. Let's plan for that. That's awesome. Well, we are at time. So thank you so much again, Melissa, for all of your thoughts and wisdom. And I actually want to put this up on the screen. If you would like more information from Melissa, if you would like to reach out and let her geek out about SEO or all of the marketing things that she knows, or maybe help you with your own marketing, here is her contact info. And then next week, I will actually be talking on some of the financial aspects in terms of running a sellable business. So, there is a slide for that as well. So we hope that you can join us next week where I will geek out about finances. And until then, hope you guys all have a great week. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, guys.